Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're taking a little time travel journey right back to post-World War II America. The war is finally over, and the nation is stepping into this brand new era, one that's just completely defined by rebuilding and some seriously fresh, optimistic hopes. We're going to look really closely at the daily rhythms that defined this iconic period. We'll step right into the shoes of an average American family to see exactly how they lived, worked, and, found happiness. Okay, let's dive right into this. Can you imagine life without the internet? I mean, it feels almost impossible for us today, right? We live in this hyper-connected, always-on modern world. But the 1950s? It was a time of pure analog simplicity. It was an era completely devoid of smartphones, social media, and that instant digital gratification we're all so used to. To truly get a feel for this period, we have to kind of strip away all that digital noise and see what filled the space when people were actually looking up and looking around. Section 1. An Era of New Hopes, Rebuilding After World War II. So, to anchor our journey, we're going to follow a typical family. Let's call them John and Mary Miller. They live in a small town with their 2 kids, and they really represent the millions of everyday citizens who are just trying to build a good, stable life in the wake of global conflict. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how following John's daily routine gives us a perfect micro-level snapshot of 1950s life. Literally before the sun comes up, John is out of bed. And he doesn't just throw on sweatpants, no way. He dresses with purpose. We're talking a neatly ironed shirt, cloth trousers, polished leather shoes, and of course that quintessential 1950s hat. He then hops into his old but incredibly sturdy car and makes his way to the factory. His day is bookended by a really predictable, comforting return home in the evening. But hey, before he heads out that door, there's the morning fuel. Just imagine the comforting sights and smells filling the Miller kitchen. A classic breakfast back then wasn't just a protein bar eaten on the run. No, it was a hearty spread. Freshly cooked eggs, warm toast just melting with butter, sizzling bacon, and a steaming cup of hot coffee. This was the absolutely crucial foundation for a day of hard physical labor. Section 2. Daily Life and Duties. Distinct Roles in the 1950s. So the societal structure of the time was incredibly compartmentalized. There were very clearly defined daily duties operating within the household and the broader economy. Men, like John, predominantly labored in factories, on farms, or in construction, basically the physical engines of the post-war economy. On the flip side, Mary's day is remarkably extensive. She's responsible for getting the kids off to school, keeping the home spotless, washing clothes, sewing, and preparing all the meals. The division of labor was really distinct, with each partner managing entirely different spheres of the family's survival and comfort. Let's move on and see how this builds. Section 3. Family Time and Entertainment. Unplugged Evenings. Because, when that long workday finally ended, the focus shifted entirely inward, right toward the family unit. The cultural importance of the family dinner literally cannot be overstated here. We're talking roast chicken, potatoes, fresh vegetables, bread, and homemade pie. But it wasn't just about the food. It's about the entire family gathering around a single table every single evening. This wasn't just some occasional event. It was the mandatory, joyous, daily reunion where stories were shared and bonds were strengthened. And what exactly happened after dinner? Well, without mobile phones or the internet to retreat to, entertainment was a shared communal experience. People gathered around the radio, they read the physical newspaper, or, get this, actually went next door to visit neighbors. In the evenings, families might crowd around a small black and white television set. Why this matters to us today is that it really shows how deeply people connected and found genuine joy completely offline. Their attention wasn't all fragmented. It was fully 100% present. Section 4. Travel and Fashion Styles. The 1950s Aesthetic. So, how did these folks navigate their world when it came to moving from city to city? The personal car, the long-distance bus, and the train were your primary options. You'll notice air travel is just a tiny slice here. While commercial flight for sure existed in the 1950s, it was largely unaffordable for the average family like the Millers. It was basically considered a luxury, meaning everyday travel was slower, more grounded, and highly dependent on the open road or the railways. And when they did step out, they really dressed the part. The visual landscape was defined by this simple yet striking elegance. Men generally wore suits, ties, and hats. Women went to the market in beautiful frocks, long skirts, and often gloves. And even the kids were left out of this standard. Their clothes were exceptionally neat, tailored, and kept meticulously clean. There was just this profound sense of pride in personal presentation.
Section 5, Holidays and Neighbors Company, the weekend routine. After 5 days of really rigorous structure, Saturday and Sunday were so precious to the Miller family and their community. The weekends were highly community-focused and leisurely. They attended church, gathered for picnics in the local park, played baseball, or just kicked back and relaxed by the shores of a nearby lake. This really paints such a vivid picture of the post-war American dream, doesn't it? Just finding peace and enjoyment in the simple outdoors with the people you care about most.
Neighbors helped each other, and everyone in the neighborhood really knew one another. This was the ultimate safety net of the era. I mean, they didn't have apps to hire a handyman or order instant grocery delivery. Instead, they relied on this incredibly tight-knit web of community ties. This mutual support network easily made up for the lack of modern conveniences. If you needed help, you literally just walked next door.
So, the crucial point is, Section 6, Memories of the Golden Era, Core Values of the 1950s. When we pull all these threads together, the spirit of the decade really rests on 4 foundational pillars: hard work, simplicity, family love, and mutual cooperation. Life in the 1950s was not inherently easy, you know? Labor was tough, and resources were much more limited than they are today. But by resting their lives on these 4 pillars, people unlocked a formula to find true, enduring happiness, despite having fewer material goods. It all comes down to this really powerful belief. Hard work, family, and hope were considered the real power of life. This right here is the thematic core of everything we've explored today. It perfectly encapsulates why decades later, so many people still fondly look back on this time as America's golden era. The power didn't come from technology. It came from each other.
And this brilliantly illustrates the contrast with our lives right now. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this question. Have we lost some of that simplicity today? We've gained some absolutely incredible technological advancements and global connectivity, but it's worth reflecting on whether we've kind of traded away some of that grounded, family-focused simplicity that defined the 1950s. Take a quick moment to think about what elements of John and Mary Miller's lives you might want to bring into your own modern world. Thanks so much for joining me to unpack this fascinating era.